What is going on, y'all? It is your boy Ali Footy, and we got some Champions League semi-final predictions. This is gonna be a big one, a big barn burner. Obviously, PSG and Bayern, like a heavyweight clash. This might be the highest quality clash, knockout tie we've seen in a minute. I mean, maybe since I'm trying to think, like it's been a long time. You could argue City Madrid 2022, maybe before that, really, maybe Barca entered 2010. Like this is a incredible tie we've got. Maybe I'm missing a few in between there, but like this tie is going to be incredible. And let me not be remiss to also mention Arsenal and Atletico de Madrid. I think people are underrating that tie, right? It's 0-0 fest or park the bus time or whatever you want to call it, haram ball, terrorist ball, but I think that tie rather is going to be very entertaining, very underrated. I think Atleti are braver than people give them credit for. They'll press, they'll attack. I'm talking about it. Might as well get into it. Let's start the predictions for Atleti versus Arsenal. And look, let me pull up the predicted lineups from FotMob. But like I said, I think Atleti, they're gonna be braver. They're gonna attack. They're gonna press. And I think this tie is gonna have a lot more goals than people expect. Okay. Now I'm looking at these lineups, and my first major point that pops out to me, this brother right here, Clement Longley. I mean, my goodness, I would change his name from Clement Longley to Barbecue Chicken because if you're an Arsenal attacker, you should be looking at this guy like Barbecue Chicken. This guy in every big game I've seen him in has just been poor. He can't hang. It's as simple as that. I hate to be crass, but he cannot hang. All right, he's buns. I'm trying to be nice, but I've never seen him have a great performance. Okay, he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. He can't contend in this kind of game. Okay, I mean you look at him in the quarterfinals versus Barca and what Yamal did to him. Put him on a T-shirt basically. Now Letty obviously still won the game, won the tie, rather, but like he's going to be a liability. It's as simple as that. You look at it versus last year, versus Spain in the Nations League semifinals. Coincidentally, also against Yamal, but he was terrible for Spain for France. Right? France, well, they gave up what 5 goals in like 60 minutes or something. Like they gave up tons of goals. He's just a leak at the back. I even remember 2021. I was thinking about it. 2021 it was at the Camp Nou for Barcelona. Mbappe put a hat trick on his head. Do you guys remember that? 2021. Mbappe, Moise Kean, PSG won 4-1 at the Camp Nou. Mbappe being one of the first people to have, I think, a hat trick at the Camp Nou, like away in a UCL, like with one of the other historic players. But Longley was in that back line, and I don't think that was a coincidence that Mbappe had a great night that night. But I digress. Longley is a major liability for Atleti, and if you're Arsenal, I would be looking to attack that. And this kind of ties into the point of me trying to say that Atleti being brave, this is going to make a matchup that's a little unexpected. Because if you're going to be brave with Clement Longley in the back line, you're going to concede some chances. And as pedestrian as Arsenal have looked, they're talented enough to convert those chances. And I think overall, if you look at it player for player, team for team, right, Arsenal have a better team. And I'm kind of inching, not even inching, I'm very much leaning towards Arsenal getting a result here. Now, before we completely, do the Arsenal glaze, right? They're still in the Premier League chase, right? And I think with Arsenal, there's this kind of culture, this history of can you get the job done, right? In the Prem, they haven't got the job done for 22 years, but in Europe, they've never gotten it done. They literally never get the job done FC if you're talking about the Champions League, right? So this is going to be a big test for them to go away in Europe and get a statement win, which they've really never done, right? I'm thinking about it, like historically speaking, they got an away win, I think, at the Bernabeu, obviously last year, but you had a 3 goal cushion. It's not really the same. Also, Madrid suck, but it's the Bernabeu. I don't think it's the same. But I don't want to be accused of moving the goalpost. but it's a lot easier to win at the Bernabeu with a 3 goal cushion. Now, I think in 2006 when they made the final, they also went to the Bernabeu and won 1-0. Obviously, Thierry Henry had that like super aura, moment where he basically took the ball to the corner. I think Ramos tackled it out of bounds, and then he kind of just gives the you know, thank you for coming to my TED talk of a performance. But yeah, like those are few and far in between for Arsenal, right? The elite teams do it more often than that. And Arsenal, for as good as they've been, they're rightfully so one of the best teams in the world. Everyone will call them that because yes, they perform that way. But if you want to be the elite, if you want to get there, right? If you want to get the job done, you got to go away in Europe and get a result. That's what the best teams do. They go away and they get a result. And in the big stadiums, in the Metropolitanos, in the Parc des Princes, in the Allianzes, right? Prior to this season, or prior to actually last season in Bernabeu, not even prior because they lost to Paris. They lost in Paris actually in the semifinal. But right last year they lost in the semifinal in Paris. Away the season before that they went to the Allianz and lost. So you got to be able to win in those places. It's tough. Not everyone does it. But if you want to win, it's what you got to do. You got to at least get a result, right? You got to get a tie or 1 goal at best, 1 goal deficit. Now, do I think they can go and do this? Considering I just lambasted them and went into them and said, "Oh man, they never get the job done. They never go away in Europe and do this, or they rarely do." But I'm looking at this team. I'm looking at the way they play, right? Never mind Arsenal being a better team, right? Like player for player, right? But at the same time, with Atleti being so brave, if Arsenal resign themselves and accept to sit on the counter, to sit back and play counter-attacking football, they're gonna have some joy in this game. I genuinely believe this. We'll see if they'll do that. You don't have to go to the opponent's stadium and impose yourself by having the ball all the time. I know some managers love that approach. Shout out Luis Enrique, but Luis Enrique would also understand the value of, all right, can you suffer? Can you sit back, suffer, take a few blows on the chin? You're good. You have the best defense in the world, right? And then send your fastest wingers, Madueke and Martinelli, and even Eze, out on a 3v3 on a fast break, basically like basketball. Yeah, yeah, sign me up for that. If I'm Mikel Arteta, sign me up for that. I don't need to have the ball the whole time. You got Lungley in the back. Boy, Martinelli and Lungley, 1v1, barbecue chicken. It's as simple as that. Anyway, I say all that to say, look, this is going to be a very entertaining game. I think a lot of people are underrating this. I don't think it'll be two teams parking the bus or, a 0-0 like Milan and Juve at the weekend for those who have the displeasure of watching. But I think this is going to be very entertaining. I expect a lot more goals than people are thinking. Give me 2-1 Arsenal at the end of the day. I think you'd even be looking at a 3-2 here. Um, I know last time in the league stage they had four goals for Arsenal, 4-0, but that was also at the Emirates. And I also think, they unless he didn't have Lookman, who's not on here for whatever reason, but Lookman I'd imagine would be featuring in this game one way or another. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, the way these guys approach the game, Arsenal should find some goals. And I think they should leave here with a major, emphatic statement road win in Europe without a goal cushion. There's nothing you can say, to excuse them, right? It's just Atleti. Madrid pulled up here and lost, and yeah, Madrid sucked, but they lost, right? So that's what I'm trying to say, and I think this team also beat Barca, so you have to give them credit where credit's due. They beat Barca, so this is a big win for Arsenal, I think, and if they do this, if they get this done, let me not go there, but yeah, things might be changing for this Arsenal team. It's as simple as that. You're probably looking at me like, why is he nodding his head so long? Get to the statement. Things are gonna look different for this Arsenal team if they can get this done. If they can, I think it'll be very big. All right, let's get to the main event. Paris Saint Germain, as you can tell, big PSG fan, versus Bayern Munich. Bayern München. As you can tell by the look on my face, I'm very nervous. This game's too close to call for me. I just don't know what to say. Like, you're looking at it tactically. These teams both like to put pressure on the ball. They fight for it. They love having the ball. You could argue Bayern's a little bit more direct in their attacking, right? Obviously, they've scored like the most goals in the world so far this season, and you look at PSG, it's a little bit of a slower rhythm. We pass it back more a little bit. It's a lot slower. It's not as direct, although there's still some verticality in it. But also like the in betweens of the rotations and you know what do the tacticals call it? Anchors and movers, right? Or floaters and anchors, where it's like you have these structures that both these teams uphold, and these 3-1, 3-3 lines, etc. in possession. It's a lot. It's a lot. Following the other team's 1v1 out of possession as well. We'll be seeing a lot of movement throughout this game. This game's got to be super intense, and I understand why it's getting billed as this massive showdown because it is. These are the two best teams in the world, no doubt. There's literally, you can't say they're not, right? And on top of that, PSG have the opportunity to go back to back, which would be incredible, right? This is one of the biggest achievements in modern football history if PSG were to do it. On the other side, Bayern are on the cusp of a treble and then, potential sextuple, depending on what they win, etc. But a major treble, I think it'll be the first team with three trebles in Europe. So there's a lot. There's a lot that rides into this. Let's take a look at these predicted lineups. Man, I mean, when you look at the players, I think on the Bayern side, it's pretty much set in stone. Obviously they also have some injuries, right? No Tom Bishkoff, no Leonard Carl. All of these guys aren't starters, right? No Nabry as well. But this is good bench depth to have, right? Those three coming off the bench would be very nice to have, and they won't have them. We'll see how that affects them because this is only 90 minutes. You don't get if it was to tie, you wouldn't get the extra time where that would really come into play. So it's like if you're gonna be injured right now, sure, this is the leg to do it, right? But on the other side, PSG, they don't have injuries, but there are some fitness issues, right? Vitinha got a major knock last week versus Lyon, and we don't know if he's at 100%. Same with Nuno Mensch. Hakimi felt a little, niggle apparently. I think on Saturday Saturday versus Angers. So there's some fitness issues. Obviously, Fabian Ruiz is also coming back from injury. I'm starting to get fit. So we'll see what happens in terms of how PSG choose to line up, especially in midfield because Vitinha and Ruiz probably both not 100%. We'll see who lines up there. Do you start Vitinha, Ruiz, and Neves? That's a classic midfield trio. But Warren Zaire-Emery's been absolutely incredible this season. He's also played the most minutes. He's been the most durable. Maybe you start with him, and as far as tactical approaches, who do you want covering Musiala, right? Because Musiala can carry and dribble, and that can kill any defense, right? You need someone to mark him, man mark him. Do you ask Neves to do that? On the other side, Kimmich can basically set up anybody, so there's that as well. There's a lot of questions here, but I don't want to get too granular because I don't think that's what it's going to come down to. It might because these teams are just that close in quality. These teams are the two best teams going. But at the same time, here's just a general statement I believe. When every team in Europe is playing its best football, is at 100%, 200%, there is no team in the world right now better than Paris Saint-Germain FC. As simple as that. It is as simple as that. This team, I mean, like I said before, this team is the blueprint. This is when you talk about the 2020s of football, as many great teams as there have been throughout the last 6 years, right? Flick's Bayern, Flick's Barca, Pep City, Klopp's Liverpool. you're going to be talking about Enrique's PSG because this is the type of team we're watching. Generational, right? People compare them to prime Barcelona, but it's different. It's got this gegenpress to it that the prime Barca teams don't have, right? Anyway, I say all that to say, I think if Enrique can get PSG playing at their best tomorrow, if PSG can arrive to this leg, to this semifinal, to this match at 100%, playing their best football, I think we'll win. If we don't, it might be a long night. It might be a long night, man. It might be a long night. You can tell how nervous I am. I don't believe like that I can really jinx a game. I'm not that superstitious, but screw it, man. Give me PSG to win 2-1. You can tell I'm not the most confident in this, but if we're playing our best, then yes, I will be. You know, Dembouz is unguardable. You also got to think about, can Upamecano and Tah follow Dembouz and Kavara and these guys and Due into midfield and for as deep as they drop. Same with Pacho and Marquinhos versus Harry Kane. A lot of these rotations and man markings are going to be tested. They're going to be tested, and we'll see if we're built for it. We'll see how we approach it. Maybe we use a block, who knows? But if we play at our best, I really don't think another team can beat us. We'll see what happens, though. Not much else to say. I mean, Bayern's a fantastic team. They have the quality to win, but this team, man, the style, the football we play is just so good. And I think, I was talking about the injuries. The bench might play a part. It is still a regular game. It's 90 minutes, so how much can it play? Who knows? But you can bring Barcola off the bench. You can still bring Mbai if you wanted to. I'm just thinking of attackers, Ramos, Lee, right? So we still have some guys. Vitinha's technically on the bench in this as well, right? Lucas Beraldo's looking good. I don't know if he's ready to be put in midfield versus Bayern Munich, but these are very good options off the bench. And we'll see how they can help change the game if we need it. And when you look at Bayern, they don't have these bench options like us. Right? Look at all these injuries. My gosh. And I forgot Company suspended as well. That could play a good part in it because he won't be able to interact with his team. Won't be able to give too many tactical, switches. He can tell them through his assistant, but it's still not going to be the same, right? We won't get 100% of that message across. So we'll see what happens, but yeah, I think give me PSG to win this 2-1. I think PSG will come to this 100%, and I think Bayern are going to give us a tough test, but I think we'll be ready. That second leg at the Allianz, though, don't even ask me, bro. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, man. I don't know. This game's too close. This game is way entirely too close. But yeah, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm very excited for this. My goodness, it's all I can think about. It's 7:30 p.m. right now, the Monday before. What is that, like, not 24 hours? It's like, what, 4.5 hours? Let's do some math. 4.5 plus 15, so 19 and a half hours until kickoff. Man, I'm ready. I hope you are too, man. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been your boy Ollie Footy. Until next time, we out.